Alright, welcome back for a more in-depth, discussion about the OMNI skates. The things I've kind of found in the last couple of sessions, as well as hopefully incorporate some of the answers for the questions that people have asked in the first video. So let's get amongst it. Let's talk about the sole plate. Now in the last video I talked about the sole plate screws here just being too pronounced and pushing my frame, making it banana rocker. It's all your answers, and there are washers under these bolts for some reason. That's something the factory did. Take those washers out. Done. Problem solved. For sizing, let's show you the medium sized sole plate against some other sole plates. Now, I chose medium because I think a size 8-9 boot is typically the most common boot worldwide. It seems to be the case. It's a bit of an assumption, but also I'm guessing that's why skate shoe samples come in a size 9. This will also give you a bit of an idea of the shape of the sole plate, as well as a little bit of an idea of the size length difference in each skate. On your left you should have the VEMS medium sole plate. The middle is the standard medium, and on your right you should see the sway sole plate, which is a 8-9 boot as well, 8-9 US that is. Gives you a bit of an idea where the standard shell size is smaller in length to both those boots. So I'm guessing, well actually there's photos on the Mesmer setup Facebook page. There's someone that's taken photos of the boots next to, say, a medium and a schmedium VEMS boot. I believe the medium boot was still a little bit smaller in length compared to the schmedium. But yeah, go have a look for yourself. I could be wrong, and I make mistakes all the time, so that's a part of being human. The hardware in the last video, I talked about about the hardware and why hasn't anyone already done it before, when in fact Adapt has done it, as other people have pointed out. Once again, human error. I guess I have skated the Adapt, but I hated them so much after skating them for 15 minutes. I threw them to the side and I just didn't even want to look at them. I was not impressed. So yeah, that's my fault for not really diving a bit deeper into that boot. And thank you for letting me know. Legends. Oh yeah, I didn't actually talk about the wheel size and the frames that much. I guess I could go more into depth. Now, the frame is pretty much the Pt.2 frame in my opinion. Well, definitely not just in my opinion. If I have them side by side, you can see it's pretty much the same groove, but with the new frame, it's more shallow. So when you go to grind, say, upright, it feels more like a Kaiser Fluid 5 because of how shallow that groove is. Also, I noticed, now if you have a look here, with the taper here, this is the Pt.2 frame, the taper here is just solid, like it's just a solid plane. And when you come to the new frame on the standard, there's an extra little taper that they've done. If you can see that. as well as being shallow. But so this little taper, does it really change how it feels? Maybe, I don't know. I found myself in that first session slipping out a little bit, but that's also because I've been skating the AG60 for so long. Different groove. Definitely got used to it by the end of it. You'll lock on, it's fine. I don't know why they did that extra little taper. Maybe it's just because they can. Yeah, I don't know if it really makes that much of a difference. But otherwise, yes. Also, the skates come with 58mm wheels, which are a rounded profile. These wheels, same factory that Law gets his 50/50 and Compass wheels made from. So they're solid. Like, for a standard skate to come with nice wheels is awesome. Like, they'll last. They'll last a lot better compared to some of the other stock wheels around, that's for sure. Also with this frame, the new standard frame that they made, they fit up to 58mm wheels maximum. You cannot fit 60, to the point where some people are even having a problem with, actually here's one right here. Hey, this wasn't like this before. Anyway, just in here, you can't really see, but it's actually, I don't know, this little bit here of plastic, there's a bit too much plastic there. It's not the case with here, on this side. So some frames, I guess just when the molders come out, there's been a little bit of extra plastic. So for some of you, you'll have to kind of cut that out. But it's nothing major. Get a craft knife or something, file it down. It's not gonna take very long, but it is, don't get me wrong, it is annoying having to adjust so many things. It is what it is. Also, they come with ABEC 9 bearings, nice and fast, and I know a lot of people don't care about ABEC really, because it's just some kind of bullshit system that they made for skating, but I'm like, they're fast, man. They're still fast, they do the trick, and they'll last. Solid, 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 solid. Alright, so here we are, day 3, third session on the Omnis, and I've changed up my setup. So we've chucked on the Icon AG60s with the wheels that I just had on them, which is the Dead Too Easy collab. Let's see how this rolls. Okay, so with my intuitions, my base them 8 US in the small Omni shell, which is a 6.7 US. Now I feel like the toe end, the toe box area of the skate is kind of like an SR, but a bit more squared off around the pinky toes, so probably more like a Mesmer. But as you work your way down the boot, it feels like a them 909 and maybe a Mesmer, but like a 909 but wider, slightly wider. And then as you get to the arch section, that to me definitely feels more like a 909, where the arches aren't predominant like the Mesmer or the Sway boots. Those boots, the arches are too hectic for me because I've got flat feet. That's why I can't skate them. Now also when you get to the heel, now this is the interesting thing, because I've seen online a lot of people just can't deal with the heel. It's too, well, there's just too much pressure for them. So for a lot of people it's a no-go, it's a deal breaker. Personally, with Intuitions, because they have that more of a heel lock kind of extra fabric on the back, it's just right. It's snug but not uncomfortable for me. Now I kind of understand why they've made the heel a bit tighter, making the skate more responsive from that end of the boot, as opposed to having your heels flop around and you relying on more your front toe balls to control everything. So there is definitely adjustment to be made. It might take a few sessions for you to get used to it. It's kind of like, to me it feels like riding an SL because of where that cuff positioning is, but then also very reminiscent of the Roches because of how low the cuff is. Yeah, so it's somewhere in between. I should mention the height of the toe box area. It's very spacious, so I guess reminiscent of kind of like the 909 as well as the Razor Genesis, which is something I personally prefer, having that space, because I find other skates too thin in that area and too pancake like, causing pressure on my upper foot, especially if you add any extra inner soles or anything like that. You just can't do it. Another problem, I guess, that I've had with the skate is more where the lace holes are. What do I mean about that? Now, I typically, when I lace my skates, use the heel lock kind of lacing system, if you get what I mean. So that's, you should be able to Google this up. So it's basically lacing it all up normally, but then you create these other little loops here where when you tighten it up, it really locks in that heel. That's generally what I do to lace up my skates. And I'll have the front bits kind of loose because of my wide ass feet, and then that really locks it in. So it almost is like having a power strap, but with your laces. I also did that with these skates, but because of where that lace hole is, it really dug into the front of my foot, I guess, where it starts flexing. Now, it was good because it gave me the support that I wanted because of how loose I skate the cuffs, but by the end of the session, after I took off my boots, I definitely felt the pain afterwards. So that's something I'm gonna have to tamper with, to the point where I'm maybe do that lace up system further down and just miss that last hole altogether. That is something I will have to trial and error, because I don't know if by doing this I'm gonna have too much forward flex, which I'm worried about. So we'll see. I should talk about how they feel when you grind in them. Now, personally, I've been skating the 909 boot with the Sway sole plate. That's what I've been skating for a while now, and that's what I keep going back to after trying everything, because the 909 just fits my foot the best out of generally all the boots. The one with the less pressure points for my wedge shaped feet. Now, skating in these, the sole plates seem to be thicker to the point where when you're grinding on them, it kind of feels like somewhere in between a Razor's SL sole plate and a Fifth Element, Roche's Fifth Element sole plate. To me, it's that feeling of when you're grinding, not so much of being further away from the grind, but just really feeling the grind on the edge of your foot. It's just the feeling, you know, the feeling, man. Talk a little bit more about the cuff. There's something that I also noticed, I've also said it in someone else's video, is the cuff, what do you call it? The cuff flaps? Is that the right word? The flap? The flaps? The flappy bits at the front? Depending on what version boot you bought, they have set differently. So if you bought, you know, a boot only or a complete setup, this is typically the shape that it's kind of set in, which doesn't seem like anything until you go to do that cuff up tighter, and they are so aligned that they don't really overlay or overlap each other, where it might take some work because they are quite stiff, quite rigid, as opposed to, say you bought a shell only. Let's take that out. A shell only here, the flappy bits are overlaid and they've set that way. So less hassle in a way, definitely less hassle if you are the type to really tighten up your cuffs, where this is gonna maybe get annoying for you depending on how tight you skate your cuffs. I had that problem because of how loose I skate my buckles. They were really sticking out and really pushing the whole buckle out. Just looked odd, and it was just a little, I don't know, didn't really matter as much, but still in the back of my mind it just annoyed me. So I ended up actually taking the liners out, getting like a fat can that we had lying around, can of fruit, and I whacked it in there, did the buckle up tight, and so it was nice and overlapping, and just went to town with a hairdryer, molded it, heated it up, molded it, let it set, and it's a lot better now. I'm like, it may annoy you, may not, but just something to be aware of, because why not? Why not? Also, Law just did another Back to Blading live thing, explaining more about the OMNI skates and what you can do to really customize them. There's also stuff on the website on how to heat mold certain parts and sections of your skate. Worth checking out. More information the better, knowledge is power. Because there's no really such thing as a perfect skate for everyone. Everyone is so different. We all have weird feet. Oh well, I have weird feet, should I say. Your feet might be perfect, but it still doesn't mean it's gonna fit perfectly in certain shells. Like shoes, there's so many different sizes and different shapes. And it's just finding what works for you. Sometimes you have to put in a little bit of work just to stretch things out or just change things to really make them fit and feel comfortable. It is what it is. My go-to skate, my go-to boot, should I say, is the 909. After everything that I try and skate, I tend to always fall back on this. Seems to be the most comfortable thing for me, even though it is a bit too narrow for my foot, but it's the most comfortable out of everything that I try. So in saying that, is this skate enough? Is skating this right now enough for me to convert? I don't know. But I am enjoying them. I still have a bit of experimentation to do to really dial them in. I'm gonna keep skating them and see how they go, because there are elements that I really do like so far, but I really just have to dial in the lacing, how I lace them, and man, to be honest, I might even, well, if I can be bothered, come down, I might even experiment with changing the cuff. But that's a lot of work since these are riveted in, and I don't know if I can be bothered. So in the meantime, I'll keep skating them. Hopefully they'll break in and just get more comfortable with them. It's going to take me a few more sessions, definitely, before I get more comfortable in these skates. But so far, so good. I'm like, they're solid and they're light. They are lighter than my 909s, and that took a little bit of getting used to, because I was over jumping things. But yeah, so far they're pretty fun. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you think of your own experiences. What do you like? What don't you like? All that kind of stuff. And yeah, hopefully you get to try yours, and hopefully they don't cause you any pain in any weird areas. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Law and the crew do after all this feedback, and see if they change anything with the second drop. That'll be interesting to see. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks for hanging out. Hope that helps. If you have any more questions, just yeah, drop a comment or something, and I'll try and do my best to reply. But otherwise, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people right now talking about this new boot, so you should be able to find the answers somewhere. Otherwise, yeah, stay rad, man. Keep shredding. Choo!